What an idiot. What was I thinking? Not smart. Not smart at all. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to another video from PursuingPoints.com. My name is Peter. I'm going to be your host. And on today's video, I am going to look back at some decisions that I've made in the credit card space that were less than ideal. But before I get to that, would really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. Throw this video a like if you get to the end and you find that it was entertaining. And as always, feel free to leave a comment if you have a question or a recommendation for a future video. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the two biggest credit card mistakes that I've ever made. The first one is going to sound so outrageous, it'll sound like I made it up. I didn't. It was an actual mistake. But even as I tell the story, it's hard for me to understand what I was thinking at the time. So basically, I have to take it back like maybe 10 years. I had maybe 2 or 3 credit cards at this time, all of which had no annual fee. I was really just getting started in the space. I wanted something next level, right? I had aspirations of earning a lot of points or traveling in first class or visiting lounges, things like that. But really at the time, I didn't have the money to sort of make that lifestyle happen. So I looked at a bunch of cards. Truthfully, I don't remember what my options were at the time, but I do know that I came across the Amex Platinum. Now this card obviously still exists today. It's one of, if not the best, travel credit cards. Now it has an annual fee of $550, but back then the annual fee was about $450. It had fewer benefits back then, but still pretty formidable, the primary ones being the lounge access. Because I didn't feel confident in my ability to be approved for the card, I decided, you know what, I will submit an application and we'll see what happens. I fully expected to get denied because why would they approve me, right? I was making no money. My credit score was, it was probably good, but certainly not what it is today. So I had very low expectations. But for whatever reason, I decided to submit the application. And I suppose to my excitement and then quickly dismay, I was approved instantly. This was horrifying for a number of reasons. One, I couldn't afford the annual fee of $450, at least not without, making some serious, I suppose, monetary changes. Two, even if I could afford the annual fee, I certainly couldn't afford to spend, say it was $3,000 or $4,000 in 3 months to unlock the sign-up bonus. And then beyond that, because of my travel habits at the time, it wasn't as if the card was going to benefit me on a daily basis, or even weekly or monthly for that matter. Saying all these things now, it really makes me wonder why I thought it was a good idea to sign up for the card. I suppose I had delusions of grandeur, if you will. The card had a great design. It was very exclusive. And because I was so young in my sort of credit card career, if you will, I felt like if I had an Amex, in this case the Amex Platinum, I would be well on my way to having, say, an Amex Black Card someday. So anyway, when the card finally came in the mail, I called up Amex and I explained the situation just sort of as I've just explained it to you all. And while I never activated the card, right, we were able to cancel it, I didn't have to pay an annual fee, etc. I still to this day don't know if that counts as me having an Amex Platinum. Because the way it works now with Amex is once you've had a product of theirs and you earn the sign-up bonus, you can never earn the sign-up bonus again. I don't think that this would apply to me, but I did try to apply for the Amex Platinum on the podcast probably a year ago now. I was given a pending decision, so I called them up, I went through the whole process, and I said to them, before you process this application, now that we've got all these details out of the way, can you confirm that I will be eligible for the sign-up bonus? And they could not confirm it. They said, we don't know. Obviously, I found that to be a bit bizarre, but what are you going to do? So ultimately, I did not end up with the card, and still to this day, I don't know if I will ever be eligible. In the future, if a 100,000 point sign-up bonus comes around, I'm obviously going to try for it because that would be cool. And people have recommended to me that I sign up for different variations of the Amex Platinum. Right there used to be a Mercedes version. There's a what is it, Fidelity version, Morgan Stanley, something like that. Truthfully, right now, I don't feel like I really need the card. I don't feel like my wallet is lacking in that regard. When I was flying a lot more, especially on Delta, the lounge access would have been nice, but I just never pulled the trigger. So anyway, that's that mistake. The things we can learn from this are, 1, don't sign up for the card unless you know you can afford the annual fee. 2, don't sign up for the card unless you know that you can unlock the sign-up bonus with relative ease. You certainly don't want to go into debt or spend money you don't have unlocking a sign-up bonus, because the benefits for having done so will be far outweighed by the downside of having to now pay interest on money you spent that you didn't really have. And 3, do your research. You know, the thing I recommend to people all the time, and obviously I had to learn this lesson sort of the hard way, understand what your goals are, understand where you spend money, sign up for products that will maximize your spending so that you can maximize your redemptions. The second biggest credit card mistake that I ever made, and it's so funny because I was on Twitter yesterday and I saw somebody commenting about how they just did something similar to what I'm about to say. And so hopefully this video is helpful for someone and it will save you an application that you shouldn't submit. So I was at Sunglass Hut probably 7 or 8 years ago now, looking to buy a new pair of sunglasses. To that point in my life, the most expensive pair of sunglasses that I ever purchased was, I don't know, call it $50. But I was in the store, I was doing some shopping. I had 2 pairs of sunglasses in my hand. The first were these pair of Maui Jims, which I still wear all the time and I like quite a bit. And then I had another pair of Oakleys, which I still have, but don't wear as much as these. I want to say that these were somewhere in the neighborhood of $300 and the Oakleys were probably around $200. I was working a job at the time. I had some money, but certainly $500 was going to be a considerable investment. Hindsight being 2020, this was a good investment. I wear these glasses quite a bit and they're of a high quality, but at the time, $500 was going to be tough to swallow. So I get to the checkout stage of the process and the clerk says, "Oh, did you know you can save $50 today by signing up for a Sunglass Hut store credit card?" I said, "No." Wow, that sounds amazing. $50 for me? What a deal. And so, story short, I signed up for the card as I was standing at the checkout counter. I was given the $50 off, but pretty much right away I knew, that I had made a mistake. Why did I? And so I guess if you're wondering what the mistake was, here it is. So, your credit score is something that you have to defend with every fiber of your being, right? It is that 3-digit number that you see, that file on you, speaks to your credit worthiness and whether or not people will loan your money for not just like credit cards, right? In fact, like the credit cards are the least interesting part of or the least interesting thing for which your credit score can vouch for you. Buying a house obviously is the biggest one, right? Buying a car is another big one. And then there's all sorts of, people use the credit check more often today than I feel like they ever have. So protecting that score is very important. One of the factors of your credit score is how many hard inquiries have you had within the last 6 months. And a hard inquiry is a financial institution checking your score for the purposes of making a decision about whether or not to lend you or to give you credit, right? And that's different from a soft inquiry, which is like what you get on Credit Karma, where yes, they are making an inquiry, but it's not for the purpose of deciding whether or not to lend you money. So a soft inquiry doesn't hurt your score in any way. A hard inquiry, however, can lower your score. And really, you want to keep the number of hard inquiries within 6 months to really as low as possible, right? 1, 2, or 3, you're kind of fine. But as you start to get up to 4, 5, 6, etc., it can have a pretty serious negative impact on your score. Now, hard inquiries do fall off your report after about 24 months, so they're not permanent by any means. But in the short term, they can have a pretty big effect. And so what this means is, like, if you're someone who you foresee yourself buying a home in the next, say, 12 to 24 months. What you probably want to do is not sign up for any new credit cards, right? You want to make sure you have no hard inquiries when the time comes for you to apply for that mortgage, because even just a small percentage point more interest on a 30-year loan is going to lead to thousands of dollars that you're going to have to pay that you wouldn't have had to otherwise. So in this case, signing up for a credit card that gives you a $50 debit on your, or a $50 discount on your pair of sunglasses is kind of absurd. Could you imagine if I needed to apply for a loan and I wasn't eligible for the best interest rate because I had signed up for this credit card, right? Or could you imagine if, Chase has the 524 rule, which states you can only have 5 new cards across all banks within a 24-month period. If you have more than that, you will get automatically denied for any new Chase products. So it's conceivable that I would go to, I could have gone to apply for a Chase card, which had an incredible sign-up bonus. Say it was, at the time, 50,000 points or $500. And could you imagine if I wasn't eligible for that because I took $50 off a pair of sunglasses? I could take these off now. So the bottom line here is you don't want to be submitting applications just because someone says, oh, I'll give you a free t-shirt, which in the case of Twitter the other day, that's what somebody said. They said, oh, I signed up for a credit card and got a free t-shirt. Man, that is an expensive t-shirt. And it could be more expensive depending on how or what the ripple effects are. So don't sign up for the card unless you truly value the benefits. And think to yourself, if you sign up for this card today and it prohibits you from taking advantage of another opportunity tomorrow, will you be okay with that? And so, in the case of like the Sapphire Reserve 100,000 point sign-up bonus, the answer is like yes. 100,000 points is at least $1,000 cash, or it's $1,500 in travel, or it's even more if you transfer the points out. Yeah, that's significant, and I would do that again in a heartbeat. Same with like the Wells Fargo, the 30,000 point. No annual fee and $300 cash. Okay, that's a great deal. $50 off sunglasses, free t-shirt. No, never again. So do your homework. If you have a question or if you're considering a new product and you want my feedback, happy to provide it. Leave a comment, send me an email, whatever you want to do. Anyway, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you with the next video.